There's been so much uncertainty and misinformation around this virus that it's no surprise that bad actors are trying to take advantage of that. The FTC has fielded more than 40,000 consumer complaints related to the coronavirus, and there is real money at stake. $28.5 million has been lost so far to fraud, and the median cost of each scam is $500 coming out of your wallet. And joining us now to talk about how the agency is trying to fight back is Andrew Smith, who is the head of the agency's Department of Consumer Protection. Andrew, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Elan. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. So tell us where the action is right now. Are there certain industries or sectors that you're hearing consumers complain the most about?
Well, we started out with these companies making spurious health claims for their products, saying that their products could prevent, treat, cure COVID-19. We're continuing to see a lot of that, but we also are seeing scams around small business financing or government checks, a lot of robocalling, online retailer fulfillment issues, right? So you order your N95 masks and then they never get shipped to you. So it's a variety of scams. And I suspect that as the pandemic and the crisis evolve, we're going to see new scams. For example, scams surrounding financial distress, debt relief, mortgage relief, and the like.
You mentioned the small business loans that the government has given out, the stimulus checks. There's been so much money flying out of Washington so fast. How are fraudsters trying to exploit that? What form are these scams taking?
Well, we actually brought a federal court action against the company that billed itself as an SBA lender, and in fact, it wasn't qualified or able to provide the PPP loans. But that was collecting application information from thousands of small businesses, and the injury there, what we allege, is that the PPP money ran out relatively quickly, and so these companies, these small businesses, wasted a lot of time on an application that was never going to work, and so we got a court order telling them to stop. And we've seen other similar scams, companies pitching themselves as small business lenders when in fact they're not, and are unable to participate in that PPP program.
Tyler Matheson here, Andrew. I'm wondering, are you seeing a rise in scams associated with charitable giving to causes that might purport to be first responders or frontline workers, hospital workers, and so forth? Any rise there?
We always have a fair number of charity scams. I would say that in those 40,000 overall reports, we have a number of charity reports. It's not those sort of a top 10 issue yet. It may be as the crisis evolves. Typically, what we see in the charity area is that there are organizations purporting to be charitable, and they just simply give little or no of their proceeds to the charitable cause that they are purporting to support. But it's not necessarily an outright fraud where, sort of rip and tear fraud, what we call it, where the company is where the charitable organization is just taking the money and absconding with it. It's more that they're giving very small amounts to the actual charitable causes, and we allege that that's a misrepresentation to consumers and that they should be giving their money elsewhere. I would say with respect to charities that people shouldn't be afraid to give, and that we and the states and the BBB are out there monitoring charities actively, and so people should feel confident in giving to charitable organizations and there are various websites, including a BBB website that rates charities, and you can make sure to check that before you give money to a particular charity.
Andrew, final question for you is that you mentioned that you did bring a lawsuit against the company that was purporting to be giving out PPP money, but a lot of what you guys have done is just write letters. Some would say that you're not being aggressive enough. How would you respond to that?
Well, so the warning letters work. Right now we're at more than 140 warning letters. And with these letters, we've been able to get companies to take down claims in less than 48 hours. If we were to go to court, it would take us a couple of weeks to develop the case and a couple of days to get on the court's calendar. And that's not necessarily conducive to fast relief. We're able to get relief quickly and cheaply and stop the harm before it happens.
Andrew, thank you very much for joining us today.